Chorizo Stuffed Pumpkin, one of my favourite starter recipes. So the first thing you need to do is to select some small to medium-sized pumpkins and bake them in the oven at 180 degrees until they're just tender. So mine have been going for quite a while now, so they should be ready. The smaller they are, really the more attractive they are, and the nicer they'll be as a starter, a little bit bigger, the main course. So this little guy took about half an hour, and the bigger one has taken about 45 to 50 minutes. But the way you test that, just check that it's correct and ready, is take a blunt knife and just prod it until it just gives, so that you're not taking a sharp object and piercing it through, so obviously it's going to go through. So pumpkins are ready. Let them cool down slightly before we handle them, because they're ferociously hot, so don't worry about them going cold. So now we're going to prepare a stuffing. So the base of our filling is this gorgeous Spanish sausage, chorizo, that's got a paprika and garlic flavour. So it's a cured sausage. We're going to pan fry that, add some sunblush tomatoes, also known as semi-sun-dried tomatoes. So they're juicier and sweeter than sun-dried, but by all means use sun-dried tomatoes. Feta cheese, which is a goat's or sheep's milk cheese from Greece. Tin of chickpeas, rinsed and drained, and plenty of baby leaf spinach. So the first thing to do is to chop up our chorizo sausage. So this is already cooked, but we're going to pan fry to give it extra crispiness. Don't want the chunks too large because it's actually quite a chewy texture. So I prefer having chorizo that's been pan fried a little bit, and the gorgeous oils come out of it, the paprika flavoured oil, and that's going to flavour up the rest of our dish. So just little juicy half mounds of chorizo, one of the most versatile things to flavour up food. So this should be enough chorizo for our purposes. Into a non-stick frying pan. You can hear the sizzle there. So the idea is that we're going to render out the fat from the chorizo, and you'll see the fat coming out of it now, and that oil is what's going to flavour up the chickpeas and the spinach and everything else. Only takes a couple of minutes. But the texture of the chorizo is much nicer once it goes crispy. Really, really lovely. So a really colourful dish, very simple to prepare, and the sweetness of the pumpkin I think works very well with the saltiness of the feta cheese, the juiciness of the spinach and the sun-dried tomatoes, also the sweetness of the sun-dried tomatoes, and then you've got the lovely spiciness of the paprika and the garlic. So you've got all the colours of the rainbow on your plate, practically, and really, really juicy, delicious flavours. Very Moorish. So as you can see, my chorizo is starting to crispen up. It's going brown, and that lovely oil is coming out of it. So chickpeas in. Now the chickpeas, if they're out of a tin, are cooked already, but we want them to take on the flavour of the chorizo. Gorgeous. Now at this point, what you can start doing is wilting your baby leaf spinach into the pan. So this is really easy to do. Literally going to grab a handful at a time and stir it in. The spinach wilts down to absolutely nothing, so this is a really good way to use it. You can see that that's reducing down nicely. So just be a little bit patient with it. A couple more handfuls. And depending on how healthy you want to be, you can use more and more spinach. I'm very fond of spinach, so I would definitely up my quota of it. Another handful. I'm just going to let that reduce down in the heat of the pan. I'll move this spinach out the way. Now to do a little bit of surgery on the pumpkins. So what we need to do is get rid of the seeds that are inside. So this is a much easier way to deal with it because it's quite soft. So I like cutting off a little lid of the pumpkin. We're safer to do it here. Because we're going to put the little lid back on once it's been stuffed. So you should come out to where the seeds are. I just need to pierce this and I'll find it. There we go. And we're just going to scoop them out. Simple as that. This is quite a dinky little one, so let's get a teaspoon for this next bit. And carry on scooping. Now pumpkin seeds are very good for you, full of zinc, very good for your immune system. There's lots of fibre where the pumpkin seeds are, so try and get as much of that out as possible without scooping out all the flesh too. So you can see that that's almost clean. Here we go, happy days. Now don't discard the lid, don't forget him. It looks like a little cartoon pumpkin actually. And then this guy needs his little lid taken off. And same thing. Here we go. So the larger the pumpkin, obviously, the more of a cavity you'll have. So you'll be able to get quite a lot of filling in there. Easier with a little teaspoon to go in the rest of the way. Here we go. Here we go. Right, so our pumpkin's ready to go. So what we still need to add to our stuffing mixture are the sunblush tomatoes, which are these ones. You can chop them in half with a pair of kitchen scissors. That's the easiest way to deal with them. But they are lovely and juicy, and they're quite small because these are you can use the cherry ones, so they're quite delicate. I don't want to wilt down my spinach too much because I am a big fan of spinach. I do like the flavour and the texture of it. Switch off the heat and then add in some feta cheese. So just crumble this with your fingers. The feta cheese is going to be just heated through. It won't be completely cooked through. Feta is not a melting cheese. It's going to stay quite firm. So it makes a good salad cheese. So we use about 100 grams of feta cheese, which will be half of this block. Stir it through. Oh, that smells absolutely amazing. There's nothing quite like the smell of chorizo sausage cooking. Okay, so as you can see, that's gorgeous and colourful and bright. I've often taken this into work as a packed lunch. Because if you scoop out the pumpkin, it makes a really nice salad, really delicious, delicious salad. So we'll do a little baby pumpkin first. I think this is the one that everyone would go for. This is a great way to get kids to eat vegetables. Far more interesting having a vegetable like this. There we go. So you can fill it until it's overflowing, and you just balance the little lid on it. And then our big guy. Absolutely delicious. Now if you need to reheat this, you can just pop it back with this little lid in the oven. But it does retain its heat very, very well. A little bit of tomato. So overstuff it as such. So what I'm going to do is plate it up as if I would be serving it at home. I want extra stuffing to go with my little pumpkin. And actually the skin on the baby pumpkins is tender enough to eat. You don't need to discard it or peel it. It's perfect as it is. So there we go. One of my favorite recipes, chorizo stuffed pumpkin.